You probably clicked on this because you want to buy a house in New Jersey. I'm going to help you. But it's a much more complicated process than you might think. And what we've found from talking to other home buyers who eventually succeeded but started off and had trouble was that they didn't feel like they were fully informed throughout the process. So this video will hopefully just give you a broad overview of all the steps that it takes and a lot of the things that people won't tell you. Because when you decide you want to buy, what you normally do is you just start looking at pretty things on Zillow, clicking them, and then going, but you don't have a pre-approval, so you don't know how much you can afford, and you haven't really researched the neighborhoods. So a lot of times we have people saying that they're interested in 3, 4 different counties, but that's really not possible. You really want to be able to fine tune the areas that you like yourself with our assistance, and we can't tell you what is a good neighborhood or a bad neighborhood. We can tell you how the prices are trending based on data, and then we can point you to things like schools, which a lot of people are interested in. But generally, your search should start in two different ways, financial and local. So on the financial end, you want to talk to a lender, whether that be a bank or a private mortgage lender, to make sure that you're pre-approved for an amount that you understand and know that you can buy. Now, you don't have to spend all of your pre-approval, but it helps us as real estate agents to know how much your top is in case you say you get pre-approved for 600, but you only want to spend 500, but everything that you see that costs 500 is not to your liking. So then we still want to be able to balance how high can we go that you're comfortable with versus the house that you are good to get. So I would start with financial first always. I think that's the best way. You get everything in order, you get it submitted, you find out how much you can spend, you find out how much that costs on a monthly basis, and then you decide how much you want to spend. And you can do it back by figuring out what the payments are by talking to the lender. Generally, this will get you really set up on the financial part because then when you talk to a real estate agent, you want to be very clear with your parameters. Are you 5 to 550? Can you go up to 6 if it's perfect? How many beds and baths do you want? Are you looking for a backyard? Do you need a garage? These are things that's important if you're buying a condo. What's the top HOA? The lender will want to know what the taxes are versus the sales price. So that's something you want to consider. So finance is really the first part. And on the second part to the side of that is local, meaning you need to figure out what town you really want to live in. It's much, much better if you've pinned it down to 3 towns and then we're searching only in those 3 towns for the best properties that come up. When you're interested in 10 towns, it's much, much harder to be successful because you're not getting fully involved in each of the areas. And what happens when you're at 10 towns or more than 3 is you're just looking at nice houses, but you're not vetting the neighborhoods to see if that's a win for you and anyone else who's moving for you. So before you even get going and start seeing houses, let's start with getting the finances order, being pre-approved, and then figuring out the locality. You drive neighborhoods. And then, of course, that can change along the way as you see properties, but that's the best way to get started. Then, if you're looking for a real estate agent, a lot of people just assume that they click a button and then that's how it works. So if you click a button on Zillow, it sends it to people who pay for ads on Zillow or who are in Zillow Flex, which my team used to be on. We opted out of that. So you don't really have any control over who they match you with. You can always, of course, say no, but you don't know if you're getting matched with a good agent or a bad agent because there are very good agents and there are very bad agents. If you click on a listing and you go and see it and think, hey, I'm going to save money and use the listing agent, that's definitely not true. The commissions are the same there, and you'll be represented by the same person who has a primary obligation to the seller. So that's not a great idea. What I would do if I was just brand new and I try to take away some of what I know, I would search on Zillow for agents who work that area. It will show you how many deals they've done in that area. I would read the reviews. I would see prior sales that they've done. You can look at every agent's past sales and see if they're selling in your area. You want someone who understands the neighborhoods, but more than that, is very accomplished and understands how the process goes, which is one of the reasons why I'm making this video. I'm not begging you to work with me or my team. This is informational. You can watch it, find another agent, watch it, have another agent, watch it, and add on to what your agent's not telling you, or just find one tidbit that might help you. And once you decide on an agent, the thing you want to focus on the most is trust. Do you trust that they have your best interests at heart. That's your number one trust mechanism. Do you think that they have that first or the commission? If the commission's ever first, then they're kind of pushing you to make an offer or pushing you to stay in a transaction after a bad inspection, which we'll get to. That's not a good sign. You do want honesty, though, and sometimes the honest truth is a little bit hard for some home buyers to handle. So after you choose your agent, you're going to start sending them properties. You're going to start looking at properties. You want a real estate agent who can always make the showings happen. You know, everybody has a personal life. We have a team here, as you can see up over my shoulder, Streamline Properties. We're a real broker. And that helps because we have other agents who can show properties, but even solo agents have, you know, colleagues and friends, but you want to make sure, like, if they're away for the weekend, that you're still going to be able to see the property. That's very, very important. They should have coverage whenever they're gone. So you've got your finances order, you know how much you can afford, you know generally your neighborhoods, you're starting to look at properties, and when you're looking at properties, you want to start having discussions about how the contract works, what happens in inspections, what things are okay and not okay to ask for an inspection repair request. And the reason you need to do this while you're looking at homes is because if you don't, you're going to get the contract, it's 15 pages or 14 pages, and then you're going to not know what to do with it. If you want to understand the New Jersey Standard Sales Contract, click up here where this logo is, and that is a 26-minute video that goes all through the New Jersey Sales Contract. It's one version older, but it pretty much has everything. So once you find a house that you're interested in, you're going to want your real estate agent to kind of vet the value on that. In New Jersey, we have so many multiple bid opportunities, which means a highest and best process, which means you're just submitting one offer. If multiple people are bidding, you're not going to have a negotiation. You just have to bid your best. And the best advice that I can give you on price is always this. I tell this to all of my clients. The amount that you should bid is the most that you are comfortable with, given how much you like the home and the data that I've given you, so much so that you wouldn't be upset if someone bid just $5,000 more and won. So if you bid 500 and somebody bid 505,000, you just want to be, okay, you know what? My top was 500, no problem. You have to be okay with it. If you're not okay with it, you might want to go up a little bit more in a highest and best situation because you may not get another chance or another bite at the apple. Once your offer is accepted, and again, you may lose a few times, you know, don't get discouraged when you lose. It's just a learning opportunity. You never know who you're up against in a bidding war. So if you're up against 10 people, maybe 3 of those have lost 10 times. They're going to bid higher. You know, maybe they're more desperate. Maybe they have to move from out of state. They have to close and they have more money to close earlier. And some people will beat you with cash or higher down payments, but you just keep going. After you finally get an offer accepted, this is awesome. And the one piece of advice, you never want to wonder, you know, if you bid too much. That means you probably weren't sold on the house. If you win, you should just be excited, ready to get into attorney review. What's attorney review? It's generally a 3-day process where your attorney and the seller's attorney send back boilerplate language, but they also make sure that the contract, that the way that it's written is valid, that the closing dates work for everyone. But I can tell you a lot of back and forth between the attorneys is just nothing. The contracts are pretty much set. You've decided on all the things, that's been accepted. And we really don't like a lot of changes in attorney review. We just want to make sure the attorneys are vetting the contract and making sure that we're all on the same page. So at any time during attorney review, either side can get out of the contract. You don't need a reason. It's not pending or valid until both of those. You have a valid signed contract, but it has to be ratified in New Jersey via attorney review. Once the attorneys sign off, then you are under contract. That's when normally you'll send your deposits and then you'll set up home inspection. And once you're under contract, you can't just walk away from the transaction without a reason unless both parties agree to that. So once you get to inspection, you're going to schedule in New Jersey regular home inspection. You're going to that's going to include termites. They'll be checking for that. You'll also want to add on radon, which tests for radon, always in the basement. And then you'll want to add on these things, an oil tank sweep. You can look that up in my YouTube as well. And a sewer inspection, also separate video on the YouTube. These are all things that you're going to do as part of the process to make sure that you're vetted. And if you ever start thinking like, hey, should I do an oil tank sweep? You should, because if you don't, that $250 could turn into 10,000 or more if you're not careful. So you're paying for peace of mind and for experts to make sure that your house is in good shape. You are going to find some stuff at inspections. Even if you love the house, even the best houses, even new construction, the inspection report is 50 to 100 pages long. So you're not just going to get a piece of paper that says, hey, it's nice, good job, congratulations. You know, inspectors are there to kick the tires, and they're going to kick them all. Not everything that isn't in great shape is something that you can get. And again, if you look up my home inspection videos, there's 4 or 5 of them. Those are great descriptions of what you can ask for and what you cannot ask for. I'm not going to go through that in this video because I'm just going to guide you through to closing. So your home inspection, what happens after that is you as the home buyer make some requests. These are things that I would either like repaired or credited. The seller can either agree or not agree. One thing that's very important to remember in this inspection window is that every time a party doesn't agree and counteroffers, that the other party can walk away. So remember, I said before, you can't just walk away, but once you're negotiating, say you send a list of 10 things and the seller says, I'll do 9 things, but not the 10th thing, you can actually walk away. It's once a counter offer is made, everything else is void until it's accepted. So that's something to think of. That doesn't usually happen, but a lot of people have been caught in that situation where they didn't understand and they were negotiating too hard. And the other side just said, you know what, you're annoying. We're going to pass on this. And that does happen. So it's all conversations between you, your attorney, and your real estate agent. Just remember something though. Your real estate agent was the one who was present with you at inspection. So they should be the one who's helping you go through the report. An attorney knows what to ask for, what they can ask for, how to present it, but they didn't go to the inspection. They've never even seen the house. So you really want to rely on this partnership between all of you. If you guys agree, that means you're fully done. You're done with your inspection contingency. You move on if you're getting a mortgage to your mortgage contingency, which makes sure that you're getting all the paperwork to the lender that they need. And then you end up with a mortgage commitment. As part of the process, you'll also get title insurance. You can look up another video that I have explaining title insurance with our preferred title company, Kelly Title Group, and my friend Kara Fishman. That's about a 15-minute video going over title insurance in general. In New Jersey, normally the attorney will pick the title company. And just FYI, the title company, the prices for everything is generally fixed. Attorneys have different prices in New Jersey. Title is pretty much fixed, little bit of stuff here and there. And normally you're looking for the smoothest process. You as a home buyer barely interact with title. You basically interact at the end. Attorneys are the ones who interact with title and the lender as they're getting all the docs, making sure that there's no liens or anything on the title, and you'll be involved in that process. So after you clear all those hurdles, title's good. You've cleared your mortgage contingency, you have a mortgage commitment. 3 days before closing, you're going to get a closing disclosure to tell you what the costs are. And that's a great time to go over that with your attorney or lender, just to make sure that everything in there looks good. That's actually the document that's going to be at closing. You'll be told how much money you either need to bring to closing or wire prior to closing. And if you're using a wire at any part in this process, you do want to double check and look at my wire instructions video. And then it's very important to be careful. You're going to call ahead. It's all in the video. After that's all done, you're going to be at closing. It takes about an hour with a mortgage to sign all the paperwork. And then you're going to get the keys to your new home. But I forgot one thing. On the day of closing, about an hour or so before the closing, you're going to do your final walkthrough. And that final walkthrough is you going through the entire house, making sure everything is as you thought it was, and also that any repairs were complete. You can make a list of anything that wasn't, and there are ways to still close and hold money in escrow if there are any issues like that. But that's it. Final walkthrough, closing, celebrate. You're a new homeowner. If you want to work with me or my team, my name is Jonathan Green. I run that team above my shoulder, Streamline Properties. We're now at Real Broker. We did about 180 transactions each of the last couple of years. So we've done a lot of buyer transactions. We understand everything that you're looking for. And this was how to buy a house in New Jersey.